Both Manchester teams crash out of the FA Cup. Bale is on the outs at Real Madrid, Messi makes history, a transfer roundup and Emoji Monday, all coming up on today's Daily News. I'm your host Angelina Kelly, let's get into it. Now, first up, over the weekend, we saw two very surprising FA Cup semi-final games. Now, first up was Arsenal versus Manchester City. I think everybody thought City were going to be able to glide past Arsenal, but it didn't happen. Arteta, I think he does have the inside track, let's face it, with the years that he spent with Guardiola, and he definitely used that to his advantage with his team winning 2-0. Now, I think what Arsenal managed to do was expose Manchester City's defensive weaknesses, and I think the pressure will be on now with Guardiola to make sure that he invests appropriately in those positions, preparing for next season. However, all is not lost for Manchester City because, let's face it, they've still got the Champions League and who knows what will happen there. Meanwhile, yesterday, the red side of Manchester also completely and utterly crashed out of the FA Cup against Chelsea. Now, who was to blame? Was it Solskjaer with him fielding a weaker team with a back three that included Eric Bailly, who had to go off with yet again another injury? Was it the fact that Martial, Pogba and Greenwood did not start the game? Who knows, but Chelsea used it to their advantage. Manchester United were totally at Lampard's mercy with numerous mistakes, not just from the defence, but also David De Gea. What a disgrace. I mean, not only did he manage to mess up Giroud's goal, also that howling mistake that he made with Mason Mount's goal, and then to top it all off, Harry Maguire gets an own goal. It was a disaster for Manchester United and has pushed Chelsea through to the next stage. Chelsea was certainly the better team and did deserve it. What does this mean? Well, for Manchester United, I think the pressure is on with David De Gea. Should he still be starting for Manchester United next season? And with Dean Henderson waiting in the wings, it will be interesting to see what happens. Regarding the FA Cup, it means that it's going to be a London derby with Arsenal facing Chelsea in the final. Over to La Liga now, where the final games of the season were being played, including Real Madrid's 2-2 draw with Leganes. Now, there was one player missing from this game, and he goes by the name of Gareth Bale. He wasn't even on the bench. Now, Zinedine Zidane has come out and said that it was a technical decision. I mean, is that the only reason? Do you guys believe that? Because I'll be honest, I don't, but whatever. So, things seem to be going from bad to worse for Bale. You know, it's the whole will he stay, will he go, these rumours that have been circulating for eternity. This was a man that was scoring in Champions League final games for Real Madrid, and now, you know, he's a sub. He's not even a used sub, he's an unused sub for the last 6 games, and I think he's featured twice in Real Madrid's last 11 matches. Bale has obviously made the headlines recently for his behaviour on the bench with his fellow subs, and it doesn't look like he's getting along with his manager. I don't know if you guys saw the picture, but there was an image of Zidane being thrown into the air by the players celebrating their La Liga triumph. And where was Gareth Bale? He was stood to the side with his arms crossed, not looking very happy. A little bit awkward, I think. This has been going on for so long now. Will he stay? Will he go? And whilst Bale has had some amazing moments for Real Madrid, I think both him and the club need to just move on. They need to separate and just get on with their lives. I know that there was a rumour of Real maybe selling Bale to a club in China. Obviously that seems to have broken down. Who knows where he's going to be playing? Let us know in the comments where you can see the Welshman playing next. Sticking with La Liga now, and although Lionel Messi was not celebrating winning the league, he was celebrating a bit of a personal victory in that he has now won the Pichichi Trophy, which is like the Golden Boot in the Premier League, 7 times, overtaking Timo Zara. Now, this is an absolutely amazing achievement. Messi managed to claim the trophy this season with 25 goals. I think he was 4 ahead of Real Madrid's Karim Benzema. Now, 25 goals for any normal player is good. 25 goals for Messi. I'm sure a lot of people will be thinking that is maybe not his best. Now, give him a little bit of a break. You know, he was injured at the beginning of La Liga and things have been a little bit rocky in places for Barcelona. Not saying that means that Messi's rubbish. I'm not slagging him off before anyone tries to say anything, but obviously that maybe might contribute as to why he's got less goals than what people would normally expect. Now, if this isn't enough to impress you, he also managed to get another record in that he made a new record for assists. He has finished the season with 21 assists. 21 assists, I mean, absolutely astounding. And that was one more than his former teammate Xavi, who I think he set the record back when Barcelona had that amazing 2008-2009 season. You know what, I mean, these are just more and more reasons as to why Lionel Messi is by far one of the greatest players that the sport has ever seen. And although Barcelona didn't manage to win La Liga this season, it is still all to play for in the Champions League, and it really wouldn't surprise me if Messi manages to set even more records in that competition. We'll have to wait and see. Next up, and we have now got a quick roundup of some of today's transfer news. Now, Kai Havertz is reportedly very interested in moving to Chelsea. However, the condition is that Frank Lampard and his team must secure Champions League football. Over in Spain, Unai Emery is looking like he might be the new head coach of Villarreal. After his sacking from Arsenal back in November, he's keen to get back into coaching. Over in Italy, Juventus are looking to get rid of Douglas Costa and bring in Wolves forward Raul Jimenez as his replacement. And sadly, it is looking like Bournemouth are on the brink of relegation in the Premier League after their 2-0 defeat to Southampton, meaning that they are going to need to beat Everton on the final day of the season, and for some other results to also go in their favour if they are going to be Now, if they've got any chance of surviving, they would have to beat Everton on the final day of the season and for other results to go in their favour. So unfortunately, it is not looking good for the Cherries. Next up, and we take a look back at your Friday feels. Now, these were your predictions for the weekend's games that you put in the comment section of Friday's Daily News. Now, normally Matt manages to find a lot of people who got predictions correct, but with those FA Cup games, a few people maybe didn't do as well as they were maybe expecting. So first up, we have got Zaneer Patel, who predicted that West Ham would beat Watford 3-1. Akshat Konara said that Arsenal would win 2-0 over City. Not many people were going with an Arsenal win, so congrats on that. And finally, Chaz PS4, YT and Rakionen both said that it would be a 3-1 victory for Chelsea against Manchester United. Finally, we come to Emoji Mondays. So this is where we have thrown a few emojis over some of the weekend's action. First up, worst player of the weekend. It pains me, but we've got to go with David De Gea. I mean, Sunday's game, he was horrific, and I mean horrific. Some of those mistakes that he made, I mean, letting Mason Mount's goal in, completely and utterly unacceptable, should not have happened, and Manchester United really need to look at what is going on with De Gea. I mean, for the club he plays for, the money he's on, the experience that this guy has actually got now. He has been a great servant to Manchester United, and he has made some fantastic saves over the years, but you can't excuse these mistakes. They're happening way too often, and considering everyone knows what De Gea is capable of, everyone has seen him having amazing games, and the fact that, like I say, these mistakes are more and more consistent. Maybe Solskjaer and, the bosses at Manchester United need to have a look and have a think about if he should be number one next season, if he should stay, should Dean Henderson be getting a look in, or maybe Sergio Romero. So yeah, I mean, worst player of the weekend, it wasn't a tough one really, had to be David De Gea. Next up, best player of the weekend. Now, it is a shame that Matt is not here because I am sure he would love to talk about this one. It's going to Harry Kane, 100%. I mean, what a performance. Absolutely excellent against Leicester. Managing to net 2 goals against a Leicester team that are not looking great. Kane has now scored 4 goals in his last 2. And you know what? It's just amazing to watch. Kane is such a phenomenal player. And as a football fan, you want to see good players having good performances, scoring fantastic goals. And that's what we're seeing. And it has given a bit of a lacklustre season for Spurs, and obviously since he was brought in, Mourinho. This is a nice end to the season for them, and it's great to see. So yeah, for me, Harry Kane, best player of the weekend. And finally, we have the craziest moment of the weekend. Now, this has got to go to Watford sacking Nigel Pearson with only 2 games remaining in the season. Now, you know what? Watford are 3 points above the relegation zone. And it could have been a better season for sure. However, Pearson's team have actually beaten Liverpool and Manchester United, but apparently for the powers that be, that is not good enough, it's unacceptable, and he's been given the boot. However, Claude Puel, who was at Leicester at one point, his name is in the hat for potentially replacing him. We'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, I think craziest moment, definitely getting rid of your manager with only 2 games left. Very bizarre, but who am I to judge? So there you have it. That's all from me for today's daily news. Let me know what you guys thought, especially of Emoji Mondays and the rest of the news from today. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and click here or here to have a look at some of the other content that we have got going on at Onefootball. Now, I know everyone will be shocked that I am not Matt, but Matt is having a well-deserved break and he will be back. Don't panic. But yeah, that's all from me today. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you guys soon.